Hey guys, what's going on? McMole2 here, welcome back to my channel. Today we are taking a look at Princess Zody in Phase 4. You guys have been asking me for a while just the overall strategy, tips, what things to Omega for them. I've covered how to mod them properly in another video, I'll link that down below. But yeah, I just want to go ahead and go over the basic abilities of what you want to Omega for them, what has to be Omega to make this team work properly, and then we'll go ahead and take a look at just how to strategize with this team, what you need to do to maximize the damage for your team, and just how to cover how you want to perfect these topples, and how you want to cover the buffs from Leia and the RNG of that. But yeah, this is something you guys have definitely been requesting for a while, and I decided to go ahead and do it. So yeah, let's go ahead and stop. Before we go any further, let's go ahead and take a look at the abilities you want to Omega, and then we'll go ahead and we'll move into the overall strategy of what you want to use for this team. Alright, so we're taking a look at the necessary abilities that you need to Omega for each character. We'll start with Cody himself. You need to obviously Omega his 2/12 attack to get that massive reduction on the 2/12 for the damage penalty. Of course, you have his leader that you're going to Zeta anyways. And then going next to Echo, you're going to want to Omega his supporting fire for that 15% bonus damage since he's assisting a lot. And then also go ahead and Omega his follow-up as well so you can max out that assist chance for him. Then you have Princess Leia. The one thing I definitely recommend you Omega for her is her Rebel Tactics, where it basically reduces her cooldown by 1 so she can always stay in stealth. It's going to cause her to survive a lot, especially when the tank comes back up from topples. If she's out of stealth, that tank could definitely pick on her and kill her, and that's going to ruin your run really quickly. Against all odds, it's not Omega yet. And then you also have the Omega for Hair Trigger. Gives her the 50% chance to gain turn meter, or 10% turn meter. It's not you can get it, but it's not a priority right now. For 5s, you obviously want to Omega his dual D17 blasters because it gives him the double tap for a target that's already suffering the speed down. So you're going to want that. You can also use Combined Fire, that plus 25% assist damage, so both attackers deal 75% bonus damage. That's a huge boost for him as well, so get that. Oops, I just accidentally, there we go. And then for Clone Sergeant, you want to Omega his basic attack, so he always gains that 50% turn meter on a fatal hit. He's always going to be critically hitting, and then also his concentrated fire, so he's always getting offense up as well. So those are the abilities you absolutely want to Omega. You want to Omega, just to go over a review, you want to Omega the 2/12 attack. Obviously you want to Zeta the leader for Cody. For Echo, you want to Omega his supporting fire and his follow-up. For Leia, definitely look at doing the Rebel Tactics, so she's always be able to stay in stealth to keep her surviving, especially when the tank comes up. For 5s, definitely Omega his speed down for the double tap for the speed down for his basic, and then consider the Combined Fire, but it's not necessary. And then Clone Sergeant, you definitely want to Omega his basic attack and his unique, so he's always gaining the turn meter and always gaining offense up. So those are the basics that you want to always Omega. So now we've looked at that, let's go ahead and take a look at just what the strategy is for this team and what you need to do to master this team as a whole. Now, when you're using the 2/12 attack for Cody, you need to keep two things in mind. His basic attack gives him more turn meter based on the health and the turn meter of the target at that moment. So if the target has more than 50% health, he gains 20% additional turn meter on his basic. If the target also has less than 50% turn meter, it's another 20% he gains for his basic. So if the tank is above 50% health and also below 50% turn meter, his basic will be giving him 60% turn meter every time. Now something else to notice is that Echo attacks slightly faster than Cody, so if you time it just right and RNG is with you, when Cody does his 2/12 and Echo uses basic attack, you can actually get that bonus turn meter from Echo to get onto Cody, and then the 60% as well for Cody's basic gets in, so Cody can actually gain up to 80% turn meter if it's an early topple and the tank is above 50% health. So you've got that, so always try to keep that in mind. So you basically, for the topple, you just want to spam 2/12 as much as possible, but you also need to be careful with Leia's basic attack and the crit chance buff up. You have to be careful with that because if you time it just wrong, then Cody can lose that buff and then he's instantly killed on the Firestorm attack. Because remember, the Firestorm kills anyone who does not have any buffs on them, deals massive damage, you can't avoid it. So it's something you always have to be careful of. So definitely be careful of that. If you have to sacrifice Leia's stealth to give the crit chance up on Cody to make sure he survives, go ahead and do that. Another thing you can do is also sacrifice the basic attack with the 212 for Cody. Use his AoE instead. If that will help cut down his turn meter gain. That gives him a little bit more breathing room. So if you have Leia coming up soon, you can use that. Try and get a little bit more breathing room for Cody so you can get that buff in. But yeah, for when the tank comes back up, I should note I have the Zeta on 5s here. So he's always gaining a bunch of turn meter when the Firestorm hits everybody. But always save 5's assist for when the tank comes back up, because you can use that to do a lot of damage to one of the B2s right away, since he's going to be going pretty much first out of all the characters. So save that assist for when the tank comes up, and then use the 212 on one of the B2s. That will help whittle it down. And then as the tank starts moving, get the 5's basics on the other turrets, help slow him down. Because when you use the 212 on that turret with a slow, you're going to get a double tap from 5's, and that's really going to help get more damage on him and also ensure that you get all the necessary crits you need to reset the 212 attack. Like you'll see here in a second, you'll see 5's turn meter shoot up like that because of the Zeta. I'm not saying his Zeta is necessary, but it definitely helps you out. So you can see there, use the call to assist, and then target the B2, get that kill in, and then use basics from the other characters to try and go ahead and get the other B2 down. Start using the 212 from Cody to start whittling down the turrets as well. But definitely save the 212s for the turrets mostly, and then use your basics like the Sarge since it hits really hard, and then you also use Leia. That also really gets a lot of damage in, so that would definitely help knock down the other B2 really quickly. And then what I like to do is I like to use this AoE from Sarge to help whittle things down just a little bit more. But you have to be careful, you gotta get them down to a pretty good amount, otherwise you're gonna have to use something like this where you gotta use the AoE from Cody to try and topple the tank in time. So you have to be careful with that, and also something to be careful of is because of that AoE, Cody does not gain any turn meter with that, so you're already at a disadvantage in your next topple. So be very careful with it. You want to balance the 212s and your attacks from other characters. You want to get Cody going to that topple with a lot of turn meters so you can start just spamming 212s right off the bat. It's a lot more damage. You can do a ton more damage with that. But also, something to note is that once the tank goes below 50% health, you're going to be doing a lot less damage on your topples because Cody's basic will not be giving him as much health or giving him much turn meter, because remember, it only gives him additional 20% if the tank is above 50% health. So you gotta be careful with that. Also, Leia, use her stealth whenever you can. Use her stealth if you know that your characters have the buffs to survive the Firestorm, and then just kind of keep her stealth, because otherwise those turrets can target her and they will quickly wipe her out, and that's just not a good time for anybody. So overall, use the 212 to help whittle down these turrets and knock down one of the B2s. Use the basics from your clones and from Leia to help whittle down the other B2 as well. And then just start focusing down the turrets as much as possible. I like to use Sarge's AoE again, of course, to help whittle things down. If everyone's down to like 5-10% health left, I'll go ahead and use that basic, or the AoE, and then just kind of knock everything down. Here you can see I'm just, because I have that, because I had a cooldown on the 212 attack. So I'm using Echo's basic attack there to help whittle down that B2. And then I can use a Sarge there, it gives him boosted turn meter. And you see Cody's going into this next topple with already close to 100% turn meter. So he's going right off the bat right there, so he's going fast. So yeah, that's your basic strategy. Just gotta be careful, weigh the buffs, make sure, don't spam 212, because if you do spam the 212, but also be very careful with it. You gotta manage your buffs, that's the main thing. Leia can be very RNG finicky, so you have to be careful with that. You gotta get those crit chance buffs up, otherwise your Cody's gonna die very quickly with that Firestorm, and then your whole run is just gonna fall apart very quickly. Back in the day before they did the 4x speed, these runs used to take me 45 minutes, so they were a lot stressful back then, especially if your Cody died halfway through because of buffs not landing. So you have to be careful with that. Leia, she only has a 55% chance to do a double tap, so you have to be careful with that. There's a lot of RNG based with her, but when the RNG is hitting on all cylinders, it pays off really well. So definitely do that. You just gotta be very careful with the buffs. You gotta manage them very well and just be smart about it. That's the main thing. You gotta be very smart about how your attempt goes. But overall, this team definitely, it's your top Phase 4 team right now. There's some other teams that are apparently moving up the ranks, so that's something you gotta be careful of. So this may not be the top Phase 4 team for very long, but this is something that's been king for months now. I'm just glad to see that it's still holding its own. So yeah, definitely as you can see there, I'm using 5's double tap to knock out one of the turrets, using the Sarge AO basic there, and then using the Leia. I sacrificed her stealth there so I can at least knock out that turret. That way Cody's going in with the full turn meter for the next topple, and it just kind of goes from there. You've got Leia also, her stealth can give her offense up, and then she can hit massive amounts. Like you'll see, she's hitting 16k whenever it's her turn. She's hitting 11, 12k during the 2/12 attack, so she's doing really good numbers there. So she's going to be a very, very good damage dealing character for this team, and she gives that crit chance up buff, so you don't have to run your crit chance as high. As I'll show, as I've said it before, I'll link it down below. You've got the video where I show how to mod them properly. So definitely look at that video too if you have questions about mods. We've already covered how to omega the abilities, but yeah, definitely go for those basics. Definitely go for the ones I said earlier of what to omega. Definitely do those, and then just kind of be smart about it. You're gonna need to take some time. You gotta practice with this team. It's gonna happen. You're gonna have trouble with it. That's gonna be expected. So just kind of deal with it. But overall, guys, this is basically your strategy of how you want to handle this team. But yeah, thanks guys for watching. I know you guys are gonna have more questions about this, so feel free to ask below, and I will do my best to answer them as I can. As always, guys, I appreciate you all watching this video. Please feel free to like and subscribe. Keep an eye out for more content. There's supposed to be a new Phase 2 team with clones coming out here soon. I can't wait to show you guys that one. It's gonna be fun to watch. It's definitely an interesting team to come up with. But yeah, feel free to like, subscribe, share this video with other people. I'll be linking it everywhere. I know a lot of people have been wanting to see how exactly to use your Princess Zody team. So yeah, this will help definitely answer a lot of questions of what you want to do, the basic strategy. But yeah, just a quick summary. Save the 5's basic, or the 5 special to call assist in. Save that for when the tank comes up to help knock out one of the B2s. Use the 2/12 on the other B2, get it down as well, and then start using the 2/12s on the turrets to help whittle them down. Use the clone basics to help knock down the B2s as well. Save the Sergeant AoE and Echo AoE for as you need to help push the topple on the tank. And then be very smart, manage your buffs properly. If you have to use the Cody AoE to help giving him that bonus turn meter, if Leia's being stingy with her buffs and her double taps, go ahead, by all means do that. You've got to prioritize Cody's survival, or else this team just will not survive. But yeah, that's the basic strategy. Just as you guys are watching, you guys are seeing what I'm doing here. So just kind of watch along, copy what you see here, and that should give you everything you need to know to how to properly use this team. Give yourself a fighting chance. But alright guys, thanks again for watching, and I will talk to you guys later.